Hello everyone and welcome to your Money Q&A question of the day. I'm your host Stacy Johnson and this answer is brought to you by MoneyTalksNews.com, serving up the best in personal finance news and advice since 1991. Let's look at our clipboard and see what our question is for the day. It is from Richard. Richard says, I would like to close one of my credit card accounts because of the annual fee. I never use the account. How can I close the credit card without damaging my score? Now, I don't cancel credit cards unless, like Richard, it has an annual fee. And generally speaking, you never should. If you decide not to use a credit card and there's no fee involved, then just cut it up and forget about it. You don't have to do anything formal to close it. Now, suppose you do, like Richard, have an annual fee and you no longer want the card. What he's talking about when he says, will it damage my credit if I close the account? He's talking about his credit history. Part of your credit score is based on how long you've had credit. For example, I've had one credit card for 25 years. A long credit history helps improve my credit score. So you can close the account and it won't immediately impact your history, but that's one reason why I advise people just don't use the card and don't worry about, formally closing the account. Now let's go back to Richard's though. He's saying, should I close the account? I'm paying an annual fee. One thing I don't do is pay annual fees. So what he could do, he could take the credit card, turn it over, look at the customer service number on the back of it, call that number and say, I'm thinking of closing this account. How about you waive in the fee? Sometimes they'll do this, sometimes they won't. But if they waive the annual fee, problem solved. You don't have to close the card. Now, you might have to do it again the next year, but nonetheless, you could try to do that. If you are going to go ahead and close the card, first of all, don't freak out about it hurting your credit history. Is it good to have a long credit history? Sure it is, but you don't pay an annual fee to do that. Go ahead and close your card. How do you do it? You make sure the card's paid off totally. Then you write a letter to the credit card company. Again, call the number on the back of the card, ask them where to send the letter. Be sure and take notes with the people you're talking to. If you decide to close it by just talking instead of sending a letter, letter's best, but if you decide not to do that, if you're already just going to talk to somebody and close the account, make sure you take copious notes. When did I call? What did I say? What did they say? Make sure you've got the notes, okay? So close that card that way. And then after the card's closed, go ahead and check your credit history a couple weeks later and make sure that it says closed by consumer. Okay, so that's the way you go about closing a card, and that's why you should. Leave it open if it doesn't have an annual fee. Try to get the fee waived if it does. If that doesn't work, go ahead, close a card, and don't worry that much about it. One exception, if you're about to apply for credit, let's say you're about to get a mortgage, don't close the card, okay? The reason why is because you want to have that long credit history. You want to do everything you can to goose that credit score. So you don't close a credit account like that when you're just about to apply for a loan. Make sense? I hope so. And I hope that answers your question, Richard. We will close today, as we always do, with our quote of the day. This comes from Nora Roberts, and she says, I guess money can't buy happiness if you shop in the wrong places. Pretty funny, Nora. Okay, guys, I hope you have a super profitable day and meet me right here next time.